So, Doc, people listen to us for nonsense, and we give it to them in spades. Nonsense, nonsense, nonsense. Some would even say, on our best days, malarkey. Braves, defending champs. Boy, it sure would be a shame if there was no season next year and we were just still the defending champs.
Also, this guy that got hit, how old was he?
46.
What a loser, just sissy man. You just got punched in the face by a 90-year-old man? Come on, dude.
I'll bet Doc is like the Sinbad of Ames, Iowa.
Oh,
Because people, I didn't realize, I thought it was just a Doc thing with the corn jokes. Iowa people love corn jokes.
Well, you know what they say, knee high by July, baby.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that's killing in the Midwest right now. I'm sure when that hits their ears, they're like, that Doc, he gets us.
Doc, what do I love more than anything? That's right, an angry football team.
I prefer to think of Warsaw as like a battle of who's the best saw, right? So you have like a sawzall, you have a skill saw, you have a hacksaw, handsaw. It's just a battle of saws till the death.
Welcome to the Spaghetti Junction Boys podcast, coming to you from the Cut Bet studio in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. I am William Hildebrand, your host as always, and I'm joined here by Sweet 16 Doc Jacobson. Before we get things started here, we want to thank our friends over at Cut. I'm sure you have the same problem as we do, and that's hard to keep up with all the different bets you've made against your friends. Who's paid, who hasn't, what were the terms, on and on. Well, we came across this cool new app called Cut that formalized that whole process so that you don't have to check the notes on your phone or scroll endlessly through your group chat. It's essentially a better version of Venmo, but for betting, with interactive features that make it more social. It tracks all your bets, allows you to create your own lines, sees your record against your friends, and perhaps most importantly, ensures that you're paid when you win, something I have not done a lot lately. Go check them out at cut.com or on Instagram or Twitter at cutbet. That's cut. Kutt. The app is currently in beta. Shoot them a DM or an email if you want to get in on the early stages. Support the people who support us. Support the folks over at Cut. And a new sponsor, support for the Spaghetti Junction Boys podcast, is also brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package is the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code SJBAtlanta at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that's about 8 million balls. So we were sent these packages from Manscaped for our packages. Included in there was the one, the only Lawnmower 4.0. This trimmer is the future of grooming and features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and also has a 400K LED spotlight. Check this out, Doc.
Ooh.
I feel like the Men in Black guys, I feel like I could blind you with this. This lights up a room. If you're anything like me, you somehow still have shaving remnants from 2016 somewhere in your bathroom. Well, thanks to that waterproof technology, say goodbye to the mess on the bathroom floor and say hello to a cleaner, fresher shave. It's time to take care of yourself, so go to manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping with the code SJBAtlanta at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com if you use code SJBAtlanta. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Doc, I feel like I need a drink of water now.
Or take a breath. Let me chime in there. I will say I'm a conservationist, so that light is huge because I usually shower in the dark. I like to test the senses.
Wait, what?
Yeah, love showering in the dark, dude. It's great.
Do you also play like Welcome to the Jungle when you're in there?
Yeah. Oh, I should say strobe light, not dark.
Prevent the jungle with Manscaped. Just get a strobe light in there. That seems like some vibes I'm very concerned about, Doc, in there.
I will say it helps a hell of a lot with a hangover shower. I mean, no light on, you're just cruising. Feels great.
Yeah, I don't know, but But do you still do that when you're not hungover? Or you just is that just out the window? You're just perennially hungover.
I'm not perennially hungover. Been working on that, but I would give it a 50-50 clip. I'd say half my showers are in darkness.
Man, that's frightening to say the least. We're gonna get to the bottom of that one day.
But you never like closed your eyes and like felt around and like imagined you were blind. I mean, shout out blind people. That's sometimes what I do.
Wait, are you just trying to cosplay that Sandra Bullock horror movie?
That as well as Scent of a Woman.
I don't know what that is.
As
I don't know the name of the Sandra Bullock movie from like 2 years ago that grossed $1 billion. You think I know Tint of a Woman?
Is that Bird Box?
I don't know. Probably. I think that's.
Yeah. Scent of a Woman is a all-time Al Pacino movie. Must watch. It's up there.
Al Pacino is the same character in every movie.
That's why he's amazing.
He has to have among the least amount of range of any actor.
So is like Denzel Washington. He's the same actor in every movie.
Denzel
Yes.
Washington, fantastic range.
Fantastic actor. Same actor in every movie.
I mean, I think Nicolas Cage gets too much credit for having a lot of range when basically his character is just, I'm nuts. And everyone thinks I'm nuts, but I don't think I'm nuts, is essentially his thing the whole time. Like, you're going to go looking around for that treasure? Yeah, I told you your grandfather was wasting his time looking for that treasure. Well, I'm going to find that treasure. I mean, he's the same guy. He's like mentally unstable to the world, but he thinks he's not, even though he really is.
Now when he turns into Ghost Rider, dude, come on. He's a flaming skull.
I don't think Flaming Skull is like a man of the people, though. I think that's still a little bit of instability to go along with it.
He's cool, calm, and collected and gone in 60 seconds, dude. Man's got range. Can't wait for that new Nick Cage movie to come out.
All right. Well, we've had a banner week athletically. Doc is we're all in on the Clones. Sweet 16 bound. They tip Friday night against the U. I cannot think of two more different Power 5 schools or fan bases. But then also me, a Miami Dolphins fan, someone who's just had to watch a team full of players that only Dolphins fans knew for the last 20 years. I mean, really, if you ask the average fan how many Dolphins they can name over the last 20 years, they'll just be like, I don't know, Jarvis Landry. I know Ricky Williams was there. Ryan Tannehill was there. I think they had Ndamukong Suh briefly. Like, people don't know about the Dolphins because we're not bad enough to be laughed at and we're not good enough to ever matter. But my Dolphins got Terron Armstead, top 3 left tackle in the entire NFL, locked him up for the next 5 years. And then just when you thought they were finished, they go and trade for Tyreek Hill. And if I hear someone say, oh, bundle of picks, huge haul, I'm going to backhand them. That is one of the dumbest narratives. I mean, sure, we gave him a ton of money, but we gave him the 4th worst pick in the first round, number 50 overall, and then we gave him 3 day 3 picks. Yeah, I think we'll be fine. If you add it all together in the draft chart, it's equivalent to the number 13 overall pick, which if you told me I could pick Tyreek Hill at 13, I'd be fine with that. But anyway, I digress. Doc, guess what the rumors out of Boston are today?
Boston.
Dolphins are not done. And why is that news coming out of Boston? Because one of the shows on WEEI, it's the show with Christian Foria, and I forget the other guy. God bless him. But the rumors are the Miami Dolphins are in talks to bring Tom Brady south to Dade County. I don't know the veracity of it, but the guy who used to work on the show, verified Twitter account, works with the Bruins on Nesson. He's a blue checkmark, Doc. He was the one to break Tom Brady to Tampa. And now he's the one saying, hey, wouldn't be shocked. There's discussions going on about Tom Brady to Miami. And for the 2 decades that we've hated that man, it would just be a flip of a switch. And how much we would love him so quickly in all the Tua debate. I mean, there's so much infighting about Tua with the Dolphins fan base that would just all just poof, Thanos just snapping his fingers because you'd have, this geriatric goat leading the team.
Well, I like that you're excited about it, but to me, it doesn't make sense for him to do it. He's already set in Tampa Bay. I mean, just not as far south of Florida. Maybe he just wants to get as south away from New England as possible. He just wants to play geographically. What's that?
He'd play New England twice if he comes.
He's going the Aaron Rodgers route, an FU tour.
Yeah, and there was talks before he came out of his brief retirement that he was going to be a small minority owner of the Dolphins. He's a Michigan guy, Stephen Ross, the owner of the Dolphins. He's an octogenarian, but still a Michigan guy. And so maybe this is his transition from on the field to in the owner's box with the Dolphins, doing it for a Michigan man. And listen, Chris Godwin, that's fun. Mike Evans, that's fun. But Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, maybe Mike Gesicki gets shipped out of town. He just signed his franchise tag, not tied to the team other than that. Bring in Gronkowski. And then the Dolphins still have 2 first-round picks next year to get the young quarterback in for when the GOAT hangs it up. I don't think it's going to happen.
It's high fodder. It's a woozy, it's a wazi. I think it's not happening, dude. But it's good. It's good to have high hopes. If you don't have high hopes, then what do you got in this world?
It's not gonna change my day if it doesn't happen. I'm not operating under number 12. TB12 is coming to the 305, but Miami Garden's still the 305. I don't know. But I am. I would be. I've already been very obnoxious. Well, for the last 31 years of my life, but especially for the last 2 days about the Dolphins, I've been very obnoxious. And that will reach hellacious levels if Tom Brady is a Dolphin. Just be forewarned.
But you're also a big TT1 guy. You love Tua. I mean, you want to sit him behind there? Do you think he's gone? I mean, you love Tua. You hate Alabama, so that's always kind of.
I'm a big Tua stan. I'm part of Tuanon. I believe in Tua. But also, I was on the train that if we could get Aaron Rodgers, go get Aaron Rodgers. And I think Tua can be very good, but I already know Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. I told everyone who would listen, he's not the greatest quarterback. He's just been a great situation and has taken full advantage of it. But then he went down to another team and won a Super Bowl for them. And so that narrative's just gone. If he does it again and he brings the Dolphins their first Super Bowl in a half century, God bless him. I mean, what a mitzvah that would be. But I want to talk about your Clonies going from 2-22 to the Sweet 16. I mean, now they just have to beat a 10 seed to make it to the Elite 8.
It's a good 10 seed, though. I mean, I like our odds against it. We've been playing very well. We've been shooting the lights out of the place. I mean, granted, and we're keeping games close, which I was surprised to watch Miami just blow out Auburn. So they do give me pause, and a little bit of concern. But it's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the heart in the dog.
It's the size of the teeth on your bird mascot.
Also that.
Hey, does the Iris have teeth?
No, I think it's just a closed bill, isn't it? Or no, that's Oregon duck. It's closed. He might have teeth.
He has an open beak, no teeth. Confirmed, no teeth on Sebastian the Ibis.
I like our odds there. It's hard to bite down and chomp into somebody with no teeth.
Easily more teeth.
Ask Tom Brady. His old ass.
One fan base can operate a tractor. One can operate a fan boat. I think that's essentially a wash, I'd say. One school had Jim Kelly, the other Seneca Wallace. Another wash, I'd say personally. One named after one tropical storm or one natural event, the other also named after a natural event. I mean, this is a clash of the weather titans with obscure bird mascots, and I'm here for it.
I mean, it is all I want to see in sports. One, love weather. Two, love birds. Also, probably don't think they're real, but I love fake birds mascots.
Yeah.
So I'm all in just from the aesthetics of the game. I mean, go Clones. That's all I gotta say. Clones by 90.
Well, as much as we enjoyed our teams last week, man, it is just a kick to Atlanta's Manscaped family jewels what has happened this week. Deshaun Watson apparently was bound for Atlanta, was calling other players saying to follow him to Atlanta. And then Cleveland, who had been eliminated, comes in with a historic guaranteed money offer. He goes to Cleveland, but the damage had already been done with Matt Ryan. Justifiably so. He's been there about a decade and a half, led them to a Super Bowl, has an MVP. You've never heard a peep about him with any sort of off-the-field issues. And he didn't even give you a peep about, hey, you got to surround me with better things here. He's been toiling with a very mediocre roster in recent years. And you burn that bridge, Arthur Blank and crew. And so then Matt Ryan, of course, gets shipped out, over $40 million in dead money on the cap, by far the largest number ever. And after 3 first-round picks and more go for Deshaun Watson, after multiple first-round picks go for Russell Wilson, former MVP Matt Ryan, a 3rd-round pick from the Indianapolis Colts. It's just weeks after Freddie Freeman becomes a Los Angeles Dodger. There were 3 faces of the city. There was Freddie Freeman, there was Trae Young, and there was Matt Ryan. And now 2 of those are gone within the month of March.
Yeah, it's terrible to see. And then like the BS excuse that the front office did of Matt Ryan, like, oh, we didn't want to dangle him out there. Oh, we didn't want to, pressure too much. We wanted to treat him right and do him well. You got a 3rd-round pick for an arguable Hall of Fame quarterback. Granted, I've heard a lot of chat there this week. If he wins the Super Bowl in Indianapolis, give him the Hall of Fame. You get some Matt Stafford treatment. But right now, it's not the Hall of Good, like everyone says. I know that joke's been made 1,000 times. I'm going to bring it up again. It's not the Hall of Very, Very Good. It's a Hall of Fame.
Well, we also don't want to make this an is he or is he not Hall of Famer. We'll leave that to the good people at 10 a.m. on ESPN.
Yeah.
The thing that's wild to me is Freddie Freeman goes to the Dodgers after the Braves move on. And there's been a million narratives going on about that with Chipper Jones, with Freddie Freeman's agent, who moved on when. It was just essentially a mess. And we may not ever know what truly happened. And so there's a lot of angry Braves fans who don't really know who to be angry at, even though the Braves did upgrade at first base. They got a younger player for less money, for longer years on the contract, who had a better year last year. He's already a 2-time Gold Glover as well, in addition to what he does at the plate. But there's a lot of vitriol at Freddie Freeman within Braves country. A lot of people who are really mad at him for going to the Dodgers, even though after the Matt Olson trade, it's not like he could go back to Atlanta. And then you have Matt Ryan, who is getting a similar treatment as Georgia fans gave Mark Richt after he was fired from Georgia and goes down to Miami, where all these Georgia fans are wishing him well and rooting for Miami. I remember my Twitter and Facebook feeds were filled with people thrilled when he beat Notre Dame in that big upset that was on ABC in prime time, and just thrilled for Mark Richt's success and rooting for him there. And you're going to see that with the Falcons because the Falcons are dead on arrival. May God bless the ticket sales people for the Falcons right now. Calvin Ridley gets suspended for the year, by far and away the leading tackler by like 80 tackles on defense, goes to the Jaguars. And by the way, they get I believe it was a 4th-round compensation pick, but because they signed Lorenzo Carter, who was only worth a 7th-round comp pick, those canceled out. So they lost their 4th-round pick for that.
Oh my gosh.
To add insult to injury. But then, then you have Matt Ryan. Are you just going to put a tight end on all the marketing? Are you going to put the 3 faces of the team are Jake Matthews, Grady Jarrett, and Kyle Pitts, the 3 least sexy positions other than special teams. You got an offensive lineman, an interior defensive lineman, and a tight end, and you're saying come to Mercedes-Benz and see the holy triumvirate that is Kyle Pitts, Jake Matthews, and Grady Jarrett.
And it reminds me of Moneyball when they're switching out like the Jeremy for Jeremy Giambi, like all the Giambi stuff, and they're switching out the banners at Jason Giambi for Jeremy Giambi and all the banners. They're switching them out on the side of the stadium. And then the other thing too, I mean, their best player on the entire team is Cordero Patterson. He's a wide receiver playing running back, and it's just weird.
In his 30s, by the way.
Yeah, in his 30s, and 1,500-yard rusher last year. Unreal. And then we have stupid Marcus Mariota. Falcons need to be renamed the Atlanta Pigeons because they are dead.
It is really wild that the Falcons had they solidified quarterback for over a decade. And it's really bringing back memories of pre-2008 of when the Falcons were trotting out there Byron Leftwich and Joey Harrington and Chris Redman and all this. And you're just thinking, Marcus Mariota, that's your – speaking of Moneyball, we can't recreate Matt Ryan. We have to create him in the aggregate. But the Falcons are dead. There's no, oh, well, if blank, like, no, the Falcons are not going to do a single thing this fall. So now you have all these Falcons fans who are going to be rooting for Matt Ryan and the Colts. And it's just – I mean, it's a lot resting on Trae Young to get out of the play-in games to give this city something to cheer about until the Braves come back on the field.
Yeah, the Braves have been good. I mean, but it's a total 180 from the end of the postseason in football, the end of football into the offseason. Tom Brady retires. The Panthers are a mess. The Saints are a mess. The Bucs look like they're done. And you're like, the Falcons could be the best team in the NFC South. And then 2 months later, we're like, oh, wait, Falcons aren't going to win 2 games. They're going to be contending for the first overall pick, and they're dead. No, we're baseball town.
I love that you just looked at an imaginary watch about what month it is. What month is it now?
Yeah, it's about hair past a freckle month.
So I want to talk about something that makes me incredibly angry, Doc, and that is Panera. I was going to say Panera Bread Company, but I think they're just Panera now.
Yeah, they dropped the bread co.
Well, anyway,
so much more.
On March 30th, Chef's Chicken Sandwiches will be available at Panera locations nationwide. There will be the signature take and the spicy take. It's a 1/4 pound of all white meat chicken breast marinated and seasoned with the chain's spice blend. They are apparently getting into the chicken sandwich wars as they view Wendy's, KFC, Burger King, McDonald's among their competitors. Now, what I find very disingenuous here is, one, the spicy take. Yes, because who says, oh, I have a hankering for some food with some heat. Get in the car, gang. We're headed to Panera. And they talk about their signature spices. Lose me with that, Panera. Absolutely lose me with your signature spices. We just welcome on a new sponsor, and I'm going to alienate any chance of Panera ever being a sponsor on this show. I don't want you, Panera, okay? Take your food that tastes like cardboard and leave. Everything, you know how they said that all Fruit Loops apparently taste the same or the same flavor?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's Panera. If you get a salad, you get a sandwich, you get a soup, whatever, it's all going to taste the same. It's all just generic, middle of the road. Hey, Do you think mayo is too spicy? Come on down to Panera. We've got just what you're looking for. You're
think
going to
an
lose the sandwich wars, all right? You're not – you got – Popeyes is the Winston Churchill of this war. You were Switzerland for so long, but now you're dipping your toe into the fray. Doc, who is the worst country strategically in the military?
France.
You are the France of this chicken sandwich wars. Take that, Panera.
Like the French almost surrendered to the Nazis in World War II. So yeah, that would have been bad.
I wish Panera would surrender to Chick-fil-A and KFC and Wendy's. How about that?
Calling a Panera chicken sandwich like in the chicken sandwich wars is like calling a margarita pizza a pizza. It's not. It's just white sauce, mozzarella and basil on crust. It ain't a pizza. I'm frazzled. This is Panera's only good for one thing, and I will give it one compliment, and that it's Coffee of the Month Club or whatever, where you get unlimited coffee for $9 a month. Big fan of that, and free Wi-Fi. Other than that, get the hell out of here, Panera.
No, that is how Panera has lured people.
They're just a better Starbucks. They have more food options.
No.
They have more food options than a Starbucks. Is why they're a better Starbucks. Their coffee is
I'd
worse.
rather hang around a Starbucks than hang around a Panera. I mean,
what are you writing screenplays all day, dude?
Yes. But the Panera, they just capitalize, and I'm not going to talk about Starbucks food. I mean, God help me. I can never tell if it's fake food behind the little plexiglass or if that's real food.
That's fake.
It's real?
No, it's fake.
Oh, okay. Well, the food that I've gotten from there also looks like fake food. They're like the people who think it's fun to do different cakes that look like things. They're like, hey, no, this looks like a cinnamon roll. Spoiler alert, it's garbage. And so, but Starbucks, I'd rather hang around a Starbucks. The coffee's fine. It's nothing to write home about, but I prefer a Starbucks to a Panera. But that's how Panera got you, is they're just banking on people traveling a lot and going, hey, that's something I recognize. I need Wi-Fi at the moment. Let me stop in at Panera Bread. And Panera Bread is really agreeable. Like I think I'm one of the only ones with a very strong opinion about Panera. I can't imagine there's people who actually crave Panera who have such strong things to say about Panera. It's just like, hey, where do you want to go for dinner tonight, gang? Like, oh, I was thinking about Panera. Oh, I had a hankering for Panera too. Like, that's not a conversation that happens. But I also feel like people aren't as just mad at Panera. And Panera's never done anything to me other than just be average. And it's just, I've never thought about Panera as food. And they've just taken that free Wi-Fi thing and they're just running with it. I think that's their strategy meetings when they're talking at corporate, is just like, okay, what is our brand? What do people think of us as? Like, we got Wi-Fi? That's it.
Yeah, and every time I walk into a Panera, like anytime around like after 9 and before noon, there's always like a group of 10 like white hair, old, snowbirds that are up here in the summer, down in Miami in the winter, just in a book club. And it's awesome to see. I mean, maybe that's where we all end up here in the next 40 years. Just meeting up at a Panera, taking some Wi-Fi, and reading books. We'll probably see Tom Brady there soon.
I hope I'm called home before that time, Doc. All right. Well, let's actually spice things up, something that Panera will never do. Doc has done exhaustive research into the Carl Crawford, yes, that Carl Crawford, Megan Thee Stallion beef. I am too old to know what was actually going on with all this. And so I relied on Doc to give us the young perspective to tie it all in. So, Doc, the floor is yours. What have you found?
You see the bags under my eyes? I've just been slaving away trying to get the deets for the people.
The grind
Grind doesn't stop. All right. So basically, Carl Crawford owns a record-producing company and a media label. And that's 1501 Certified Entertainment out of H-Town. That's Houston, baby. Signed Megan Thee Stallion back in 2016. There was...
Was that before she was famous?
Yeah, it was like right when she like just started hitting the map, and right before she linked up with Nicki Minaj. The biggest altercation that is going on here is that Megan Thee Stallion was contracted to produce X amount of records, right? And she is one record away from being freed of her contract. Carl Crawford comes in and says, no, the last record that you produced for us and did for us doesn't count as a record. And she is claiming that that does, and the next record she's about to drop will clear her of her contract. And Carl Crawford comes back and gets all petty with it and it's like, well, you've been on tour for 3 years and I'm supposed to collect 10% of all the money you make on tour and I haven't seen a dime of that. And so they get lawyers involved. Megan Thee Stallion, who we find out through legal procedures, real name, Megan Pete. That's not for a second. Megan Pete is one of the worst names ever.
Yeah, you're not a rapper as Megan Pete.
No, so I respect the move to go Megan Thee Stallion. Anyways, as this whole legal battle is going on, you know, you got Carl Crawford over here saying, you know, you owe me all this money. You didn't get all your records in. You didn't get your contract done. She says, well, I only have one more record to give you. He's like, you owe me 2 more records. Well, she goes, well, tell me how much money that is owed to you in your eyes from me being on tour for so long. And he gets his lawyers together and he puts together, of $2 million is what she owes him, according to him. And she's like, well, send me
$2 million on tour.
Yeah, while on this record label, I guess. They said it's $100,000 per show. I'm assuming big shows. I'm gonna have to do a deep dive more into kind of the analytics and the monetary, recumbents of big pop shows like this. But I had to stick to the meat and potatoes on this one. Anyways, she then goes, well, give me an invoice of all this money that you think you owe me. Carl Crawford comes in and puts his own personal chains, jewelry, diamonds in on this invoice. It's like, well, you owe me money for this because I was going to buy it with the money that you owed me here. Just petty moves. And then after all this goes down, Megan Thee Stallion comes back, claps back at him, as they say, the kids, claps back, and calls him a pill popper and a powderhead. So he's doing pills and doing a lot of cocaine. Found out, did a little deep dive into Carl Crawford's past. Not a great guy. He
had
the
pool incident.
Yeah, the pool incident. He had a divorce in 2016, or 17, excuse me, where his wife claimed he was hosting a lot of drug-fueled orgies at their house. So not a great guy. So,
a lot of powderhead accusations for Carl Crawford.
A lot of powderhead accusations from him. He came back and, basically called her an alcoholic and was going to sue her for defamation and all this stuff, and basically went off on her for sleeping her way to the top. And as all this is going on, guess who comes to save Megan Thee Stallion?
I hope it's Cardi B.
Jay-Z.
What?
Yeah, dude.
I don't know why when you started saying Jay, I thought you were going to say Leno. That wouldn't have made sense. Please continue.
Jay-Z, she signs to Rock Nation for representation. And now Rock Nation is, as Carl Crawford puts it, dividing and conquering and trying to just create this divide between them and trying to get her out of this contract. Basically, what we're looking at here is just a giant Twitter trolling battle just between two people that are just calling each other names and just can't meet together. And, I think Carl Crawford's in the wrong, though. I'm on Megan Thee Stallion's side.
Megan Pete. I would enjoy this story better if it was Jay Leno who came to the rescue. Megan Thee Stallion, I'm going to get you out of this contract. This Carl Crawford guy is a bad character. You want to see my cars? But I also want to get back to the Megan Pete thing. That it really isn't talked about enough what a true underdog story Lil Wayne is. That not only is he little, he owns that, but also his name is Wayne. And Wayne is a guy who sits at the end of the bar playing Keno, running through cigarettes, ordering just whatever house whiskey they have. Maybe it's a house gin. He's at the same horrible small town bar all the time, or just like a bar no one goes to in a big city, one or the other. That's Wayne. Wayne, who's been divorced a couple times, and any time he sees a woman like 30 years younger than him, oh, that's wife number 4. Like, oh, Wayne. Yeah, no, it's not. But the fact that he became an iconic rapper with a name like Wayne, pretty amazing. And Rick Ross, who would have thought that a massive star like Rick Ross could get to where he is with a name like Rick?
Do you know that one? Rick Ross actually stole that name.
Really?
Rick Ross used to be a penitentiary worker and stole it from the actual Rick Ross in Miami, who was like some big time drug peddler back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Well, another great underdog story. I wouldn't have thought a guy named Rick would be such a big drug smuggler.
Don't come at me, Rick Ross. I'm just saying what I heard on the internet. It's not all true, but that's just what I heard.
Are you talking about the real Rick Ross or fake Rick Ross?
No, I heard the real Rick Ross was like suing him for, royalties on his name, basically.
Oh my God. Rick Ross's real name is William Leonard Roberts II?
Yeah, you can't go around with that.
William Leonard Roberts.
What is with all these full names just being a bunch of first names? Megan Pete, William Leonard Roberts. We'd have to look into a couple more, but that's Wayne Carter.
You got into that like you had a laundry list that you were about to spit onto the podcast, and you just got to 2. And we're just like, I'll get back to you with more.
Get the interns on it.
Well, I'm very glad that you broke that down. I think I'm on Megan Thee Stallion's side. I'm definitely not on Carl Crawford's accounting team side.
No.
Because I feel like $20 million is a very low amount that Megan Thee Stallion has made on all of her tours. I feel like they also should have had papers somewhere. I don't know. I know everything's done digitally now, but I feel like accounting offices still just have like those big accordion looking folders filled with papers. And I feel like they should have that with all of Megan Thee Stallion's receipts, literally, not as the kids are saying. And that's really dropping the ball. I respect Carl Crawford's hustle. He made so much money playing baseball that he decides to go into record labels, helps out a local Houston kid. She becomes a huge star. But yeah, from the allegations that you mentioned, I think I know where his money went.
Yeah,
I think I have a sneaking suspicion.
And then I saved this kicker for you in case you were somehow on Carl Crawford's side. Just in case.
I like that you assumed I would take the villain in the story's side because that is 100% my brand. When I watch Animal House, I root for the snooty fraternity house. I'm not going to root for the nerds with the motorcycle in the house picking boogers and the guy who doesn't even talk. No, I'm rooting for that house. When I watch the Mighty Ducks, I want the team that does what it takes to win. Yes, they go get Banks because they needed him. All right. Yes, they gerrymandered the district for youth hockey. I don't give a shit. That's what it takes to win, baby. So, yes, of course I would take the villain's side. This was a case where I did not. What is the kicker?
Megan Thee Stallion doesn't get paid up front. Like, the money doesn't go directly to her. It goes to, like, her agent or some other agency or, like, it's not – she's not paid an envelope of $100,000 at the end of the show and be like, hey, here you go, Megan Thee Stallion. Like, she probably gets, third, fourth touched money. Like, whoever is screwing over Carl Crawford is whoever gets the money first from the concerts. It's not Megan Thee Stallion.
You see, if I was a big star and I was getting paid tons of money to perform in front of a lot of people, it would be in my contract that I got paid up front in a golf tournament size check.
Oh, Happy Gilmore style. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I want you to present me one of those big checks every time I walk off stage. All right? I want it all up front, and I want to be able to take it to the bank, literally and metaphorically.
Your agent set up the deal, so I'm assuming it's her agent who's being scummy, but whatever. What are you going to do? That's just the rule. That's just the world of agents.
Who was there was a football player, or maybe it was a basketball player. I don't remember. It was someone. It might have been Chad Ochocinco, and I apologize to Chad if this is not the case. But one of them said that they only get cubic zirconia jewelry because they've made so much money that no one's ever going to question them if it's actual diamonds. That is the smartest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
That sounds like something Chad Ochocinco would do, or Terrell Owens. That sounds like those two right up their alleys. I would too. I think that's a brilliant idea. Save the money. You still, flossing, whatever the kids are calling it nowadays. And put that extra money that you just saved into a Roth IRA, as the old timers say. We're hitting all metrics today.
Yeah, it was Chad Ochocinco, and that's such a fantastic move because also, I mean, we just learned this week about when David Ortiz was shot, and I've heard it phrased as an assassination attempt. And is that just a phrase that you can use if someone tries to murder you? Because I've only heard it associated with politicians and like political figures.
Yeah,
Assassinate. Like if someone shoots me outside my house tonight, did someone assassinate me?
If they pulled up on a moped like they did in Big Papi's assassination attempt, I think you can call that an assassination attempt.
So like a motor vehicle has to be involved?
I think there has to be like a getaway vehicle so that the assassination tries to be like covert. You can't just American Gangster it with Denzel walking up to the guy and shooting him in the head in the middle of the street and walk back. That's not an assassination.
If the real Rick Ross comes after me, it can be an assassination attempt. But we learned that it was like a drug kingpin who wanted Big Papi dead, and so if someone ever tries to rob Chad Ochocinco, hey, you got away with $30 worth of Claire's jewelry. Enjoy it.
Well, if you ever tried to rob Big Papi, don't go to his house. He clears out every house with an estate sale like 2 years after buying it.
I just don't understand why you'd want to kill Big Papi in the first place. I mean, maybe there's some bad blood over something. I know he was pushing the international draft. Maybe that has something to do with it because I know a lot of shady characters make a lot of money off those kids by putting them just full of PEDs and taking a lot of their money once they get to the major leagues and so forth. But
might be a Pablo Escobar situation where that kingpin was just what's up?
He's so jovial, that Big Papi.
Yeah. But it might be like a Pablo Escobar situation where, the kingpin is just running Dominican baseball and Big Papi's trying to get in there and take it over. And he's just been laundering money through Dominican kids for decades.
I don't know. It's wild. Thank you for doing this deep dive, Doc. I cannot wait till the next installment of Doc's Deep Dive. That is what this segment will be called moving forward. It is said, it is done. I want to close the night. This has been a very Miami-heavy show. I want to close the night by talking about Jorge Masvidal in Covington. Help me with this first name. Is it Colby?
Colby, yeah.
Yeah, getting into a fist fight at Papi's Steakhouse, a big Papi show as well, down in Miami. Masvidal's team claimed that Masvidal knocked out Covington's tooth, to which case Covington said, "That is not true. I donated that tooth to first responders," which is the funniest line I've ever heard in my life.
That is pure gold. Pure gold. I love that line.
I do like that while boxing has basically gone away, there's just not much boxing we care about anymore. That used to be bigger than anything. And is it because Don King's not promoting boxing anymore? We'll never know. But that has just transitioned into MMA. But I will say, with MMA or boxing, and I'm not who they're marketing anything to. I mean, just look at me for God's sakes. I don't look like an MMA guy, like a guy who's just like, hey, we watching the fight tonight? Like, that's not me. But I do love stories. And I love when you have a great fight story. And like, I don't care if it's two guys who are 30-0. That's not going to draw me in. That would draw me in a college basketball game. That's not going to draw me in an MMA. But you have to make these personalities. Like Conor McGregor keeps losing fights and is really not much worth a damn anymore as a fighter professionally. Like not me and him going at it.
Yeah.
But he's created this character. The song plays, the entrance, then Notorious B.I.G. hits. Like it's fantastic. And he's just is always talking smack, always saying just wild stuff. And so you need these kind of these stories, but you also hope there's some authenticity to it, where there's actual bad blood. You don't love seeing like the guys go hugging, like, oh, I respect you so much, man. What about like, no, you want two guys who genuinely hate each other, who want to rip each other limb from limb if there wasn't a referee inside the octagon. And it seems like that's the case here. Like, this can't be fake, can it? The actual hatred, if they're going to go at it in a steakhouse.
No, it's definitely a real feud. It's kind of like you said. It's Conor McGregor versus Khabib Nurmagomedov or whatever the heck his last name is. There was some real hatred.
That.
It was close, but
it's true.
we don't know. But that was some real hatred. They're talking about each other's like
that's from the last name, and then said it was close with amazing confidence.
That's probably close.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So this is real bad blood. Those are the best fighters. I mean, even though like I'm an old school UFC fan, and my favorite fighter is Chuck Liddell. Him and Tito Ortiz used to get into it in and off the octagon. Those are the best, man. You're 100% right. You can just, when you feel that animosity and that hatred for each fighter has for one another, it just sets fireworks galore inside that octagon.
The thing that's missing here is that it's at a local establishment and an upscale steakhouse. I would have loved this a lot more if they just happened to be in the same Applebee's. if I heard two multi-million-dollar fighters are getting like in a brawl at an Applebee's, I'm a lot more all in on this.
Yeah, and not to mention the sponsorship deals they could do with Applebee's. It's a missed opportunity.
I don't know. Can you really get a sponsorship? Hey, come to Applebee's. There might be a fight. They could probably do that already.
Oh yeah, they probably already could. Come to Applebee's. You'll definitely see a fight, whether in person or on Saturday night with the UFC pay-per-view.
I was at I was up in Chattanooga, and I was walking past an Applebee's at like 10 or 11 at night, and there was a line out the door. And I asked a local who was with us, I was like, "So what's the deal with that?" He goes, "Oh yeah, they call it Club Applebee's. It gets packed at nighttime." It's like, Club Applebee's? That's something I'm very unsure about. If I'm either way out or way on board, and I can't decide which.
You should be on board. We have Disco Kroger here in Atlanta.
Yeah, but there's not. That's because it used to be a disco, not because it's an active disco. Like, you can't go and get a gin and tonic in that Kroger.
What the hell was I doing there last weekend?
Brown backing.
Yeah.
I mean, where's the headline? Covington, Masvidal, brawl in a Panera. Subtext, reportedly there for the free Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi goes down, brawl ensues.
Real heated battle over chicken sandwich war between Masvidal and Covington. We're just turning up the heat.
Well, that's going to do it for us. Check us out on YouTube at Spaghetti Junction Boys, on Twitter at SJB Atlanta, Instagram Spaghetti Junction Boys, as well as our website. A lot of blogs up this week, a lot of nonsense up this week, a couple of gambling picks this week. Had some gambling up there, sjbatlanta.com. Also, be sure to check out Cut. Cut is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that allows friends and strangers to bet real money on sports, politics, entertainment, and other events electronically. Think of it as a much better version of Venmo, but for betting. A formal platform that allows anyone to bet with a known counterparty, ensuring the winner of each bet will be paid, and has a ton of ancillary features that give it the feel of a social network. Check them out on Twitter or Instagram at CutBet, or on the web at www.cut.com. Again, they're in beta. Shoot them an email, shoot them a DM, get in while the getting's good. Support the people who support us, support CutBet. And of course, we will get you the promo code we mentioned at the beginning of the show. That'll be on our YouTube page. We'll have a tweet as well. Doc, do you have anything else to say about your clones before we go?
Clones by 90.
There it is. See you next week.